Good evening, everyone. It's Tough Love Tuesday today. It's Tuesday. It's been a really good day, busy day. Um, and it's getting cold here in Washington State. I was cold. Anyway, I can definitely tell we're heading into fall. So, anyway, just bundled up a bit more this evening and actually turned the heat on today, after I realized I was freezing. So, anyway, good evening, everyone. And got a topic today that is inspired by a post I actually saw on LinkedIn about 3 days ago. And it's going to be based on a quote. It's know your worth, and you must find the courage to leave the table if respect is no longer being served. And I thought about this and I thought, gosh, that statement applies to so many aspects of our lives, right? It's not, I know it was intended most likely for relationships with other people. Tonight, I really wanted to talk about getting the courage to step up from the table from a relationship with yourself and a relationship with food that is not respectful, that's not serving you. And because it's all connected. And also, give again some pointers from the book that Ingrid and I wrote, Your Personal Journey with Food, where we talk about that in several chapters about respect of self and body image, how that's all connected. And so that's going to be our topic tonight. Yes, I'm an integrative nutrition health coach and integrative precision nutrition health coach and personal trainer. Um, I didn't get here overnight. I am a recovered yo-yo dieter, body loather, perfectionist, people pleaser, all of those things, of which made it so I sat at a table with myself that didn't fill with respect. It was not respect. I was not serving respect to me and my behaviors and my thought processes. And I also wasn't serving my body respect at the table by the food I would force it to eat. So, um, again, like I stated in the post, what table are you sitting at? And what are you serving yourself? And do you need to get the courage to get up out of that chair and create a new table with a place setting and food and mindset that serves you? Okay. And that is filled with respect. So we're going to talk about that tonight. Um, in In the book again, Ingrid and I have what's called our life radar. And it's an area where, again, because everything is connected, we are looking at physical activity, our health, joy, spirituality, relationships, finances, creativity, our social life, our career, and our education, and what we cook and place in our mouths. And so, um, knowing your worth in those areas is so important, and knowing, if you are serving yourself with respect in all of those areas, and then looking outward and seeing other areas of your life that maybe don't involve your own thoughts or whatever, but is respect being served there. Okay, so we're going to start talking about all of this. In the book, we do cover it a lot. It's chapter 13 and 14. But in chapter 13, it's called Is My Vehicle Good Enough? And self-image. And in there, I talk about, just early beliefs that I had about myself. And you can, if you relate to this, I get it. But early beliefs regarding my looks, my body, my finances, those types of things started creating doubt in my life about my value, because I started placing value of respect for myself on outer things, on things that, um, were perceptions, I guess. And in the meantime, um, you know, because I was thinking that my value is based on external things coming towards me, external thought processes, what someone might have thought about me, I basically battled with my self-worth because, and then therefore, I did not serve my self-respect. I wasn't serving my self-respect, and I didn't number 1, I just didn't know how to do it at that time, and it's something that as I've gotten older and I've been able to practice more, I'm, getting better at it every single day. Life is a journey. We're always learning. We are learning every single day. And if we can remember that we technically never arrive, because once we arrive somewhere, there's more to learn and there's another area of growth in our lives that we can, have. And so anyway, but when I was younger, um, I used food to comfort myself, and I know a lot of people do that. And so I would love to challenge you um, to state, if you are using your food to comfort something else in your life that you want to fill a hole with or an emptiness with, is that, again, are you serving your self-respect? Are you serving yourself the respect that you should have? And are you serving your body respect by doing that? And so, um, we I always wanted to solve my challenges with everything else but what I really needed to solve. So, um, if that makes sense. And I think as humans, that's just, something that we can tend to do, right? Um, so, um, in that process, and it's something you can think about as well. If you're sitting at your table and you realize that you're not serving yourself with respect, either through behaviors, thought processes, or emotions, you know, um, really look at that and then figure out what the source of that belief system is, where it came from, why you have it. That's when that's when you can finally start to learn and being willing to learn about that. um, One thing I used to do too is that I would drop anything that was important to me in my life, um, and I would modify my processes or what I did because I always put someone else's at higher value than my own. But what that did was it just affirmed it to me in this mindset I had of where I wasn't treating myself with respect, was that I was just, not worth anything anyway, right? And so I had this horrible mindset of not serving myself with the respect that I should be giving myself first before I would expect it from anybody else. Um, so um, when you know I had this negative Nelly in my head too, and she would say, "Well, if you do want, if you do take care of yourself, if you, that's selfish. If you do not put everyone else before you, that's selfish." And she would, and I know so many people do this where they don't take care of themselves because they value everyone else first, which we should value everyone that we love in our lives. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is we've got to value who we are as well first so that we can step forward as who we are. And so I really wanted to address that too. If you find that you're having a hard time respecting you, um, you're having a hard time respecting your body and therefore giving it the foods that will serve it the best. Really look at that. And sometimes too, it could be that you're afraid to step out into the world as you. And it was an interesting journey for me because even for me to get the courage to do these podcasts and live broadcasts, I was terrified, but I I knew that if I did not live as my authentic self, I could never live, where I'm sitting at a table serving respect to me. So look at that too. Are you a chameleon? Are you changing who you are to fit someone else's life, someone else's beliefs, and stifling that true self? Because your true self will realize that you don't really respect who you are. So going through that journey is so important. The other thing, one way to that helped me to work through that was to talk about it and be honest with my struggles, be honest with the way I had felt about myself, and to practice and realize that I wasn't alone in some of that self-sabotaging mindset. That there's a lot of people that we do it, and it might be, I think too, something like a tribal DNA thing where we're afraid to stand out because we could be attacked or cast out and be alone, and that's definitely what my brain told me. Um, I wouldn't have any friends, I wouldn't have any good relationships, so I better, not live as myself, not respect who I was, but, you know, always always try and be what others thought I should be. So, um, when I think back about, my own journey, now that I'm in my 50s, it's probably stuff that just comes as you get older and you've had that opportunity to walk your path. But, if I can instill anything in anybody that's watching, is that that's one thing that I wish I had just spoken up and trusted, you know, that being who I really was, being my true self was always enough, and that being my true self, um, allowed me to have that give myself that respect and give my body that respect and serve it that respect that it deserved, because it does all start from within us, okay? And so I know I didn't know how to do that, but I was willing to start learning. And so taking that time, as I said so many times before, is, if we can be lifelong learners, learn to serve ourselves respect, it will branch out into our lives in so many other ways. It'll branch into our careers, our relationships, everything. And it just takes us practice. Okay. So with training practice, you can learn to be kind to yourself and you can learn to give yourself that opportunity. Um, so I wrote on page 184 in the book, some of the lessons I've learned. Um, and they're lessons that were based on, again, where I thought I was not as worthy because things happened to me. Um, but again, it's about life, right? So life has beautiful as well as traumatic experiences that shape us. I've learned that life is not a race against others. I've learned that life is to be an experience. Um, and that my life and also your life is not intended to be someone else's journey, it's yours. And so respecting your journey as yours is invigorating and exhilarating. um, Life is intended to be your personal journey, and just like the name of the book, your personal journey with food. We talk about that. It's your journey. It's not your neighbors. It's not your brothers, sisters, anybody else. It's not a fad diet. It's yours. And that's what makes it so wonderful in its messiness. I also have learned that life is a journey to be savored and appreciated, and that we can all rise above our circumstances. I never used to believe that. I do now. And so, um, once I let go with the belief that I had to live up to everyone else's expectations of me, and actually it turned out they were my own imagined expectations. I made it. I made it that way myself, which I laugh at now. But once I had done that, a great deal of stress left my body, and my self-image began to climb. So, once I decided not to try to be like someone else, I was able to create my life. I decided to be brave and begin letting go of my perfectionism, which I'm still working on in some other ways. um, and I realized that perfectionism had held me captive, right? And so if you can release that perfectionism and realize that we are human, we make mistakes, and that we still can have that amazing respect for ourselves, even in our mistakes. So, um, on page 185, I have a quote from Oprah Winfrey, but it's, turn your wounds into wisdom. And those are such wise words. So, one way that you can learn, I told you I'd give you some golden nuggets from the book, but one way you can learn to start serving yourself wonderful food at the table, wonderful respect for yourself at the table is, you know, find gratitude. And you've probably heard this before because it really is true. Find and practice gratitude every day. So when I turn my view to my blessings, the blessings of my experiences, the blessings of, you know, the body I loathed for so long, um, I started to feel triumph in my failures. If that makes sense. And I started to find forgiveness in my mistakes. And I realized by starving myself of self respect or starving myself of good food when I used to just force my body to eat anything that I chose that it should just suffer through it because I was going to make it eat it. Once I once I found forgiveness in myself for doing that to myself, so many things changed. So, um yeah, so when I looked for my blessings, and my triumphs and I found the forgiveness, then I found that compassion, to me. And so I really recommend that you do that. Um, so the other aspect is, um, the self-image or our self-respect of our being. It's not only aligned with our thoughts, it is aligned with our food. And I've been bringing that up too. They are connected, I promise you. Your food and your mindset and your food are basically one. And food can make you feel certain ways. It can make you feel exhilarated, full of energy. It can make you feel depressed, bloated, horrible, um, you know, vibrant, wonderful. And so when you sit at the table to eat, think about that. Is what you are serving yourself, are you serving food that respects your mind? Does it respect your body? Or are you just cramming stuff in your mouth like I used to do? And listen, everybody, I still have some items that I have yet to conquer. So I am not speaking from any perfectionist. You can ask my family and my friends. They'll tell you, oh, it's this, that. It's definitely the darn popcorn. It's the caramel popcorn. But I laugh at myself now and I don't flog myself for these things. And I still allow myself to give myself respect for what I've learned. Um, and and allow my body to speak to me when I make a choice that doesn't feel good later, to learn from the experience. So, again, your food is connected, and our bodies thrive on certain foods, and then they suffer on other foods. So again, with that quote that I was stating was, know your worth. You must find the courage to leave the table if respect is no longer being served. And when I look at it with food, um, the courage I had to have was, I felt grief with the thought of having to give something up. I felt I didn't have the courage to step away from certain things. And maybe you have a certain food item, or maybe it's alcohol, maybe it's cigarettes, or something that you just don't that you are utilizing, but it's basically harming your body, but for some reason you don't have the courage to understand why you're doing that to yourself, but also, again, what emotion is involved with that. And food, we'll go back to food, but food is we celebrate around food. We comfort ourselves with food. We have memories. We can have happy memories with people around food. And so that food item can mean a lot, and having the courage to step up and walk away from it, but keep that wonderful memory of what was based around the food is is a big key. So if you can figure that out, why you're eating that item, it's just because you always have had it as a kid and the memory is so great, but you don't feel good when you eat it. Um, you have some chronic illness because of the way you're eating. Um, Getting yourself to realize that maybe it's holding that memory is what's so much important, but you are worth it and your body is worth it to, put something different on your table and have the courage to try something different of which you can thrive on instead of, the food making you feel awful, because it's a catch 22. Um, yeah, and that's the same with body movement, with movement. Sometimes you're too tired to get moving, but if you don't get moving, you'll always be tired because studies show it's a fact that when we move our body, we make more mitochondria, which is the battery powers of our cells, which gives us more energy. And when we exercise or we get ourselves really tired physically, we will sleep better. So these are the things that, if you look at your table of life, look at all the areas, your food, fitness, career, whatever, relationships, what are you serving? And do you have courage to step away from the things that are not serving you well? Um, so when I finally started serving my self-respect, like I said, I was able to come up to peace with everything and peace with myself. I also realized that, um, you know, I could fight all day long to try and be somebody else and to look like somebody else, but you know what? It's never going to happen. I'll always be me. And and so that's another great key is to say what can you do for your body, for your mindset, for you as you to make you the best you. Who cares what anyone else is doing, right? So that was a big lesson. Um, so when I go to chapter 14, I talk a lot about, training and managing our mind, getting it to get on board. Um, if you listen to these broadcasts or if you've listened to the podcast a lot, our brain is happy if you just get up and go breathing. It thinks you're alive. So why should we have to do anything else? It's educating it and and um, and making it understand that some we got to look at something new. We got to do something different. Whatever that is for you, and it's going to be scared to do that. But it's so important for you, and like self-esteem, that inner voice that wants to, there's an inner voice that we all have, one that's really positive, that's the optimist, that we tend to make that one be quiet a lot because the other one is for sure the boss, it knows more. But that optimist that lives in there, these two can get along. We just got to get them to cooperate, right? So um, that's when I really had to work with talking to that inner voice that was wanting me to step out, that felt like I was squishing her, that would make me feel when I would squish her in my mind, I would feel really broken and sad in my core. I don't know how to explain that, but once I I let her come forth, I started giving myself more respect. I started making better food choices. I started to exercise more, you know. So again, we are worth, you know, more than our circumstances. We're worth, giving ourselves opportunity to live our best life. So, so I have to speak firmly to myself, and if you find you're doing that, it's okay, but I have to speak firmly. When I'm leaning toward choices that I can tell I'm getting back into an old habit, of overeating, or I'm getting back into a habit of missing a workout. I start talking, literally, this little battle, this little discussion going on inside. Um, so for not getting my workout in, it's crazy. I'll say, I know you want to be lazy. Part of my brain's like, I want to be lazy, but we need to get it done. And remember how good you feel afterwards. And remember how proud you are when you get it done. Um, so let's go do it. And sometimes I'm dragging myself out there because part of me doesn't want to do it. But I always feel better. And I always feel like, yeah, I triumphed. And I feel like I deserve the respecting myself. Um, it's the same thing with not getting to bed early, or, you know, overindulging, or, things like that, where one part of my brain's like, "Yeah, let's go." We don't care. And then the other part's going, "No," my body's like, "No, don't do this to me." So, we are the results of our choices. We have, bringing this back to the quote, we do have a table set in front of us of, our life and our experiences. And once we can, you know, start learning about our body, about the way our brain works, cause and reaction, and, enjoy that journey of learning, things really can be so exciting. So, here are some of the gold nuggets I wanted to give you. So, you know, um, listen to your empowering voice. Um, it is always speaking, and it is so impactful. Um, learn to know when your instinct, learn to say no when your instincts telling you to say no, and respect that, right? So this could be, if you're a people pleaser, this could be, um, always saying yes to things when you really want to say no to something. Um, you may go along with the crowd. Um, and even when that choice could be harmful to you. Um, so when you do stand up for yourself and you do set those healthy boundaries, oh my gosh, your inner respect raises, and that inner self starts to believe you and starts to feel heard, right? So honor your word to yourself. That's another way to serve respect to you. Honor your word to yourself and let your soul trust you. Just like our relationships with other people, animals, and the animals of the earth, we can build relationship of trust with ourselves, just like we build relationships of trust with others. But we need this relationship with ourselves. We really need that to be there. Um, so, uh, a way is to practice. If you say you're going to do something, then make sure you do it. And each time you do that, you're getting stronger at it. You're getting more, you say, "Hey, I'm not going to eat the 2 bowls of popcorn tonight," And it's funny because, I again, popcorn, um, when I achieve that, I'm like, "Yeah," I'm really proud of myself because I know I'm gonna feel horrible later if I eat it. So, it just gives me more strength that I can do something. So, honor your word to yourself. Um, the other thing is, honor your inner self and do, for it what you promise to do. So, it's basically, value yourself enough to treat yourself with respect. and honor the body that carries you every day of life on this planet. And as you continue to build healthy relationships, you will notice that making supportive choices for yourself become easier and more comfortable. So it's practice, okay? And speak to yourself with respect. This is a huge one. Would you allow others to speak to you the way you probably speak to yourself? No, you wouldn't hang out with them. You wouldn't do it. So learning to speak um, to yourself with respect. And so I do find when I talk to myself with respect, my self-worth, climbs. I make better choices for myself. I have more conviction. So, um, it doesn't mean we're not going to say things to ourselves, but, have that dialogue um, in a way, but be firm with that really negative person. Um, so, by communicating passionately with yourself, acknowledge your thoughts, and by turning the fearful mind into an ally, you can create a supportive environment within you. Um, so, don't be afraid to have the inner dialogues between those inner voices and, the courageous positive side and the fearful protector side. They both are important, and it's just getting them to work together. So I may have said this once before um, in another podcast broadcast, but when I have one side of my brain that's afraid and wants to protect me, and so if I say, "Hey, I really want to get control back of this, part of my life, whatever it might be," and let's use food. I want to use food as an example. Um, you know, that part of me that doesn't wanna change, that kinda misses the old way will butt back at me. It'll butt up and basically be a bit whiny and upset and not want to change, because we were supposedly okay the way we were before. So, I'll say this, and I learned this from, um, T. Harv Eker, and it works great for me, is, "All right, so I know, let's say I want to try something new that it's worried about, or I want to go for a week without eating popcorn. I say, all right, listen, we've done it before and we had great results. I just want the opportunity to try it one more time. And it really, when I say that, it's sort of like, "Oh, okay. We just want the opportunity to try it. All right, we can do that." And I get that one part of my mind that doesn't want change, that doesn't want to give up on anything, doesn't wanna lose out on a treat. We'll say, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess we could do that. Yeah, we've done it before. We're all right." And it helps to get buy-in. If you wanna decide to, again, walk away from the table that you're at right now, where you realize you're not being served with respect, just say, "Hey, we don't really quite know how to do this yet, but you know what? I'd like the opportunity to learn how to do it right now." So that's a great way that you can get that buy-in. So anyway, I saw that quote, like I said, on LinkedIn. Know your worth. You must find the courage to leave the table if respect is no longer being served. And that means you need to look at your own table, because what's going on in your mind within you is so important. And then that will go out into the world and create relationships and everything outside. So look at your food, look at your relationship with you, and practice those techniques that I just talked about. And again, if you finding it hard and having little courage, just again say that, hey brain, I know we don't know how to do this yet, but I'd really love the opportunity to learn right now. Okay, that's all I got for tonight. Have a great week, everybody, and I'll see you soon for next week's Tough Love Tuesday. Talk to you soon. Bye.